everybody, and welcome back to A Book in a Bottle. I'm so excited to be back in Heaven and Ale, Chattanooga's best beer tasting room with owner Joe Winland. We are going to talk today not only about beer, but a book by Brian Charles. There's a Road to Everywhere Except Where You Came From. It is a memoir. He wrote it when he was living in New York City after 9/11. Joe describes it as very postmodern, which I would say is quite appropriate. I met Brian at a bookstore in Knoxville, one of my favorite bookstores, Union Books, and he is working there now. And obviously, as two writers, we started talking about craft, and so I very much wanted to mention and talk about his book. So now, Joe, who, remember, also has his master's in literary studies and beer expert, is going to parrot the book with the perfect beers.
Since the book is largely about where you come from, who you are, and how the nature of your upbringing is always kind of shapes and defines who you become later in life, the first thing I wanted to do was encourage all of you out there to go find local craft breweries in your town and drink their beer. Get to know your local brewers, get to know your local breweries, get to know their styles, and enjoy them first and foremost. And never forget those beers, no matter how grand or robust your knowledge of craft beer becomes. The two beers that I wanted to talk about today, though, were two beers that I think are wonderful introductory styles to craft beer. Two beers that you can shape your own love of craft beer roots with. And the first is a beer called Mama's Little Yellow Pilsner from Oskar Blues Brewing Company.
I love this name.
Pilsner, I do too. Pilsner styles are very simple and basic. Imagine everything you know about beer. Light, crisp, easy to drink, but brewed without adjuncts and not watered down. It's a delicious summer beverage. It's a delicious basic beverage, and it'll make you fall in love with craft brewing. The other is a beer by French Broad Brewing Company out of Asheville, and it's their 13 Rebels ESB. ESBs are going to be very malt forward with some hop flavor, but not a tremendous amount of bitterness. They focus on balance of flavors. And this is another beer where if you're new to craft brewing, it's very accessible, very delicious, without any kind of overpowering flavors, but certainly very delicious ones.
I want to try that, because I've got to admit, I don't like a really bitter beer. I'm not there yet.
Sure.
I guess my palate is not sophisticated enough yet. But I think those are some great options, and sound like they're going to be a beautiful pairing with Brian Charles' novel, book, nonfiction, memoir. I think his writing is very crisp and sharp.
Absolutely.
And the beer, I think, will be a lovely combination.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put all the information for the beers. These can be acquired nationally and on the post and on my website. And don't forget, when you're in Chattanooga, come to Heaven and Ale, mention A Book in a Bottle, and you'll get a warm welcome from Joe.